Hey everyone, John Lorden here. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Brainscratch Searchlight. We have a very fresh case. This is a case that's been going on for less than a month at this point. You guys know that typically I will do the review of all the available media first before I bring family on. But with this particular case, I needed more details, and thankfully Sam Davis's mother reached out, and we are going to bring her on to kind of go through this story together with us. Now, I will still have all of the sources that I've researched for this case in the description box below, so you guys can look through those, learn more about this case as well. But I think we're going to get all of those major points kind of hit on during the interview here. So with all that being said, let's welcome Carol Mejia to the channel. Hi, Carol.
Hi.
And obviously, guys, we're talking to someone that is dealing with this on a day-to-day basis. This is someone that this is a very fresh problem for, and of course, she's extremely emotional. This is a mother of a missing person. For Sam's information, let's get the critical details out first. So he's missing from Charlotte, North Carolina?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
The Davis Lake subdivision is where he was living.
Davis Lake. Is that on Poplar Grove Drive?
That was the street that he was living on, yeah, within that subdivision, yes.
Okay, gotcha. We're talking about a white male, about 5 feet 11 inches tall, around 150 pounds, with blue eyes and brown hair. And of course, you guys can see the picture I have of him down below. I'm also going to bring up some other pictures as this video goes on. How old is he?
He's 25.
25 years old. Okay. Does he have any tattoos or piercings? I couldn't really find info on that.
He does, yes. And I can get some pictures of those to you as well.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. So we'll show those on the video here as we're talking about them. Could you describe the tattoos for us real quick?
He's got a Nintendo cube on his left shoulder at the back. He's got like a big half moon and a small half moon. He's got something on the inside of his leg, something to do with Pokemon. I can't remember which character exactly. I mean, he's got lots of tattoos on various parts of his body. Yeah,
he definitely seems like a bit of a Nintendo fan. I think in one of the pictures he's even wearing a Nintendo shirt. Okay, and nothing for piercings?
He did at one time wear the really big earrings in his ears, so it's possible that his lobes are still slightly stretched, but I hated them, you know, like most mothers do. So I don't believe he has any in at the moment, but like I say, they're probably still stretched slightly.
Okay. And I know people are probably wondering, because I'm wondering, and I haven't even asked you yet, where are you from? What's your accent?
I am from England originally. I've lived in the States for over 20 years.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I'm firstborn in America. My father's Irish, my mother's German. So, yeah. And we have a lot of international viewers, so I'm sure some people from England are watching this as well. So, first of all, I had a little confusion because when I was looking into this, some posters are saying that he's been missing since Friday, June 29th, and others are saying July 3rd.
No, June 29th was the last time he had a contact with anybody or anybody saw him that we're aware of. But I didn't report him missing until July 3rd, so that's probably where that confusion comes in. Because I didn't know straight away that he was missing because he was 25 years old. He doesn't live with me. And I reported him as soon as I found out that he was missing.
Yeah. How far do you live from him?
About 40-minute drive, maybe. He was in Charlotte, and we're on the outskirts of Charlotte.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because it was one of the posters was actually put out by the police department, and it's saying July 3rd.
Oh, I didn't I didn't know that. No, June 29th was the last time, as I say, that we know that anybody's seen him. It's the last time that anybody has heard from him.
Okay.
And it's the last time he's used any of his social media accounts.
Okay. Before we get into many more of the details, I want to kind of understand a bit more about what type of person Sam is. Obviously, we know he's into Nintendo. Does he have any other interests or hobbies?
Skateboarding. We believe he has a skateboard with him, a small, like a really miniature skateboard.
Yeah.
black with green wheels. He doesn't have a car, so he's either walking or he uses the skateboard for transportation, and we think he has that with him.
Okay. Now, is there any logos or anything on the skateboard, or is it just black?
No, I believe it's just black.
Just black with green wheels. Okay, gotcha. And is he currently working or attending school, or?
Oh, he was working. He works restaurant work mostly, but he was waiting to start a new job actually right before he disappeared, which is another reason that makes it strange that he would suddenly just disappear.
How soon was he going to be starting that new job?
He was supposed to start it the following week.
Wow.
And then also his dad, who doesn't live in the Charlotte area, he was coming up that weekend. The Sunday after he went missing, he was coming up to spend time with him.
Okay.
And, that's just another reason why we don't think he would just up and disappear, because he knew his dad was coming. They'd made arrangements. He was looking forward to it.
And there'd be no reason for him to be worried about meeting up with his father?
No, none at all. Absolutely none at all. His dad would have taken him out to lunch and put him up in a hotel and, spent time on him. Yeah. Nothing like that.
Okay, gotcha. Does he have any siblings?
Yes, he has an older brother who lives in Charleston, South Carolina, where we used to live before we moved to the Charlotte area.
Okay.
He has a stepsister who also lives down there, and he has a younger sister who's 13 who still lives at home.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sure everyone is quite worried about Sam. Yeah. Okay. And I did see a few mentions of him missing family events, and that would be very unlike him.
The 4th of July has passed, and the fact that his dad was coming up to visit, and they'd made plans. Yeah.
Okay. He also has a girlfriend?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
She lives in the area as well.
Okay, and she had last contact with him. I'm seeing something about a message that happened at 4:30 in the morning.
Correct. Sam doesn't have a cell phone plan, so he has a phone, but he uses it he can only use it if it's on Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And he was messaging her at 4:30 on the Friday morning, saying that he'd had a falling out with his roommate and that he was leaving the house and he was just going to go walk the subdivision. And obviously she didn't want him to leave the house and walk around at 4:30 in the morning, so she was trying to convince him to stay. And he said that he would either go to the park on Hooks Road, that's close to where he was living,
okay,
or he would go to the pool area, not to use the pool, but just to go hang out there.
Yeah.
Or he would walk to the Harris Teeter, that's at the end of Davis Lake Parkway, because the Harris Teeter has free Wi-Fi, and he would message her when he got there. And he never messaged her again after that. And the police have looked at the video at Harris Teeter, and he's not on the video. There's a Walmart within walking distance. The police have looked at the video, the Walmart video, and he's not on that either. So we fairly certainly didn't go to either of those two places, which are places he would normally go to try and pick up Wi-Fi if he needed to contact anybody.
Right. Do we know anything about the disagreement that he was having with his? First of all, how many guys live there? Is it just the two of them?
His roommate lives with his parents, and it was just the parents, Sam and his roommate.
Okay. And do we know about this disagreement at all? Has the roommate said what the disagreement was about?
Not really. Not really, no.
Okay.
Just that they were having a disagreement about something to do with money, I believe, but I'm not sure of the full details. But then Sam further messaged his brother-in-law, his stepsister's husband, at 7:45 that morning, and asked him if he would come to Charlotte and visit with him because he was down and he needed somebody to talk to. So wherever he was at 7:45 on Friday morning, we know he had Wi-Fi. So we don't know whether he was still at the house or whether he had walked somewhere that had Wi-Fi, but it's unlikely that he'd walked somewhere that had Wi-Fi, because if he did, he would have shown up on the video cameras, unless he went somewhere else that we don't know about.
And no one's been able to trace what Wi-Fi he jumped on for that messaging?
We've tried. The police are trying to gain access to his Facebook account, but of course, there's all these protocol and that it's private and Facebook don't share information and all that kind of thing. So we've tried. Yeah,
in many cases, I see where the family will wind up breaking into the Facebook account somehow, but obviously...
trust me, we have tried. I have tried every conceivable password. I've asked his friends and his girlfriend, and they've all given, and his brother, and they've all given me suggestions of what it might be. In fact, I'm surprised that we're not completely locked out of his Facebook account at this point. We've tried that many times.
Right. Now, there's an interesting aspect to this story already in that he communicated with his girlfriend, said he was going somewhere else and that he'd get back in touch with her. He doesn't.
Correct.
But he does wind up contacting someone else several hours after that.
Correct. Yeah.
Is there anything going on between him and his girlfriend in terms of them having trouble or...
Well, they were on and off again, but at that age, they usually are. I have talked extensively with his girlfriend, and she is absolutely devastated that he's missing.
Yeah.
So I have no reason whatsoever to believe that there's anything going on there. She is broken at the fact that he's not contacted her.
Yeah. Yeah. How far does she live from him?
If you were driving, maybe 15 minutes, something like that, not very far.
Okay. Very strange. So who is the last person that we know is the last person to have actually seen Sam?
His roommate and his roommate's parents tell us that he left their house at 9:00 on that Friday morning. Originally, they said 11, but they were mistaken because then they thought more about it and realized that it was 9:00 in Friday morning that he left. And he told his roommate that he was going to walk to Walmart, which is why the police looked at their videos as well.
Yeah.
And he didn't say why he was going there, or if he did, we don't know why he was planning on going there. And basically, that's all we know. That's all we know.
So once again, just trying to piece together this timeline, we have him saying that he's getting in an argument with his roommate. He leaves. He texts or messages on Facebook messages his girlfriend. 3 hours later, he doesn't get back to her, but messages his brother-in-law saying he's feeling down. But then a matter of an hour or two after that, we have the family of the roommate saying that that's when they last saw him.
Correct.
So he came back. Did they explain how he came back?
We don't know. We don't know if he left at 4:30 or whether he stayed there.
Okay.
That these are the things where we have gaps that we don't know whether he left at 4:30 in the morning or not. His roommate claims that he was still there and he left at 9, so we have to assume that he didn't leave at 4:30 when he said he was going to, and that he stayed in the house. And I guess, I don't know, maybe everything calmed down and he stayed a little bit longer and he actually left at 9.
Right.
But we don't know. We're not sure about that, unfortunately.
So in terms of his financial situation, we know he was starting a new job. Was he out of work for a period of time before that?
About 2 weeks. So we wouldn't have had a lot of money available to him.
Okay. But he wouldn't have had serious trouble, like he wasn't backlogged, several months of not paying rent or something like that.
I believe he did owe rent to his roommate, but if it was anything, it would have been a matter of a few $100s. It certainly wouldn't have been thousands of dollars or anything like that.
Is Sam the type of son that would ask for assistance? Would he ask you for help?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and he would ask his dad, and he has asked both of us. And his dad had recently sent him some money to pay his rent.
Okay. So maybe having some money issues, but nothing drastic.
No, not that we know of anyway. Certainly not that we know
of. And you've already mentioned, but he has no vehicle at all?
No.
Okay.
He doesn't have a car.
Just the skateboard, black mini skateboard with green wheels. Do you have a picture of that?
I don't have a picture of that one, but I can let you have a picture of one very similar to it.
Okay.
And I've never seen the skateboard. His girlfriend was the one who described it, and she found one online, so I can get a picture to you of what it looks like.
Perfect. Yeah, please do. Now, if he was taking a trip that was longer than reasonable for a skateboard, would he use public transportation?
Yes, he had a bus pass.
He had a bus pass as well.
Correct.
Have they checked to see if that was used at all?
For some reason, there's no way to check. It's just you buy the pass, you use it, and then it expires.
Okay.
Because we already thought of that. And I have been down to the Cats bus depot in Uptown Charlotte and put posters out and passed his poster around to bus drivers to see if anybody had seen him. And there was a poster up for a while. Hopefully it's still there in the office down there where the drivers meet before they take their route. So
yeah,
it doesn't look like he got on a bus, at least not that day.
Okay. In terms of his personal belongings, anything else missing that he took with him?
He left everything. Not that he had much, but he left everything at his roommates.
Okay.
In fact, I've been around recently and picked everything up and I could carry it in my hand. It was just this small amount of stuff in it.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, Carol. I know that's a very tough part of going through all this. It's a really hard thing. It's also a hard thing being on the other end of a camera here, and I can't just give you a hug. I really wish I could give you a hug right now. So you picked up everything, and it looks like he left everything behind. Was his wallet there?
No, his roommate says that he hasn't found his wallet in the house, so we have to assume that he had that with him.
Cell phone?
Yeah, but like I say, it doesn't have a plan on it, so it would.
Sure.
It only works on Wi-Fi, and he couldn't find that, so we have to assume that he has that with him as well. Okay. But if we send him messages through Facebook, you can tell whether you can tell whether they've gone through, and then you can tell whether the person has seen them or not. They're not even going through, so that indicates that his phone is turned off.
Okay.
Or dead.
Did he have a set of keys?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm not sure about that.
I'm really just trying to get a good idea of what would be with him, just in case anyone out there sees him or this stuff anywhere. Backpack? Did he carry a backpack typically?
He had a backpack, but he left it at the house. He didn't take it with him. You see, this is another reason why it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That if he was planning on being gone for longer than just a few hours, you would think he would have taken all that stuff with him.
Yeah. I would assume that the investigators have searched the route between his home and the Walmart.
Yeah, and I have as well.
Okay.
My husband and I have, and a friend of mine organized a search, and about 50 people came out, and she had the whole subdivision mapped out. She did a phenomenal job, and everybody got a street, and everybody got posters, and we all went door to door, and anybody who wasn't home, we put flyers in the mailbox. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we have really canvassed that neighborhood. They have an app called Nextdoor, and people have been posting on there. There are pictures of him up at the swimming pool. I mean, I can't believe that there's not one single house on that subdivision knows that he's missing.
Right. But outside of that, there's the actual path all the way to, it's like 2.7 miles, I think, from where he was living to the Walmart.
Right.
Do you know if anyone has looked off to the side of the road for any side of him?
I think the police have. I know they've searched the park on Hucks Road.
Yeah. They've
searched it with dogs. They couldn't pick up his scent because it apparently has to be 24 hours old. So they took dogs out, and they use dogs that can find living and deceased people. Yeah. And they've not found him. Okay. And I have personally walked where he would have walked and put up posters underneath, because you have to walk underneath 485 on the railway tracks, and I've walked under there and put posters on the underneath the bridge, and just everywhere, and then walked off into the bushes, and at the beginning when he was only missing a few days, called his name and whistled, "Oh my God, were younger, I have a whistle. It's really loud, so I won't demonstrate it for you, but I have a whistle and you can hear it for miles.
Yeah.
My boys knew when I whistled, they had to come home and I've whistled for him.
Yeah.
I've been now it's 3 weeks, nearly 4 weeks.
Yeah. Man, this is a really tough one. Is there a homeless community there?
Yes, my husband and I have been to areas where we've been told that there's large homeless communities. We've put up posters, we've talked to people. I've had conversations with people who think they work for the CIA.
Yeah.
And they're already drunk at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I am not putting these people down at all because
they're struggling too.
They're struggling, they really are.
Yeah.
And we've been to the homeless shelters, and we're not supposed to give out any personal information, but they allowed me to put posters up. We've been to the food bank, we've been to the Salvation Army, we've been to, I've even walked under railway bridges in uptown Charlotte where people live.
Wow.
And asked questions and left posters.
Yeah. I'm just racking my brain every which way trying to figure out. I mean, it sounds like you are just working so hard on this and doing everything you can think of. I
created a Facebook page for him that people are sharing and posting on it. If anybody would like to, I say like, I mean, how can you like something like this? But if anybody would like to like that page, it's facebook.com/findsamdavis.
Okay.
I post updates as we get them.
Yeah.
Not get many because in fact we don't get any. The only thing we know now that we didn't know right at the beginning is that he's not on the video at Walmart or Harris Teeter. Other than that, we don't know anything else.
Right.
Somebody must know something. Somebody has got to know something. People don't just disappear into thin air.
No, they don't. And there's all kinds of different reasons why these cases happen. That's part of the hard thing when I'm talking to families like this is sometimes the darker things grab our attention and we worry so much about those that the other answers just don't occur to us. I've seen cases where people for one reason or another have wanted to leave their lives and they leave their life. And then a few years later, they're actually found. In some cases, they make contact or law enforcement finds them and they say, yeah, I'm fine, but just tell my family that I just don't want to be with them, that don't let them know where I am. There are many different outcomes here, but it's hard, of course, not to be worried when you have someone so young that is, starting his life and has a very particular way of being, and then all of a sudden something like this happens. Has he ever run away before?
No, he would drop off my radar for a few days. Yeah. Because he's 25 years old, so, I mean, to go for a few days without contacting me, that's not unusual.
Yeah.
But for him to not contact anybody, he's never done that before, no.
Okay. And did he ever, do any traveling or anything like that? No. And is he an outdoors type of person?
Not particularly. Well, I mean, no, not really. I mean, he gets around outdoors, so he's not afraid to be outdoors. He's not afraid to be out in the hot weather that we have here.
Yeah.
And but he's more of a sit on the couch and play video games type of person, I think.
Yeah. I know that type very well.
Yes.
Okay. So there is some mention in the articles that he might have been suffering from some sort of depression. Are we talking about depression due to some specific events, or are we talking something more like a clinical depression?
Well, he wasn't happy with his life in general. He wanted to better himself, and he wasn't really happy with his living situation. And he has made some poor choices for himself in the past. He's not always made the right choices, and he's not always done the right thing. Okay. So, he was down. I know that he was down.
Did he talk to you about it?
Yes.
Okay.
He did. Yeah. Just that he was really trying to get a better job, but without a card, it's difficult to get a decent job because it has to be with either on the bus route or it's within walking distance.
Yeah.
And my husband and I have helped him, and his dad has helped him. We've all helped him. But everybody tells you that don't be an enabler, and that tough love is the best route to take. And right now I'm beginning to think that that's not true, because I feel like I should have done something else, and I should have done more. And I just don't do anything, absolutely anything right now for him to come home. If anybody knows anything at all, anything, I'm begging you to please do the right thing.
Yeah.
Please contact the police and do the right thing. The police don't care about anybody's history. They don't care about anybody's life choices or anything like that. All the police officer is interested in is finding Sam, and that's all I'm interested in. So people can find me on Facebook, or go to the page, contact me that way, or they can even call Crime Stoppers. I know you're going to put that number.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they can call Crime Stoppers anonymously. They don't even need to give their name or any personal information. Just if you think you know where he might be, please say something.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're doing this. That's why I'm asking you guys to, first of all, open your hearts to this case, but also think about if you have friends that live in this area that might have seen him somewhere, please share this video with them as well. As always, contact information is in the description box below. We've got a direct number for the investigator working on this. Detective Gaskin is down there. On top of that, we have the general missing person unit police number. And then, as she mentioned, we also have the Crime Stoppers number, which is a very important component because you can do an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers if you are worried about that. So
if anybody thinks they see him, though, they need to please call 911, because I've had so many people send me through the Facebook page. They've sent me pictures saying, is this him? Every time it's not been him. But the point is, if it was him, I can't jump in my car and drive to the other side of town just in case it's him. If you see somebody who you think is Sam, I beg you to call 911 immediately. The police will be there in less than 10 minutes. And we would all rather it be a false alarm and it be somebody else than for him to leave, because, I don't know what state of mind he's in right now. We have absolutely no idea what's happened to him. Best case scenario is he's had some sort of a mental breakdown and he's wandering around somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you think you see him, please call 911 immediately and tell them that you think you see Sam Davis and he's a missing person, and the police will be there within 10 minutes or less.
Yeah, Carol is raising a very important point. And I really haven't talked to you guys about this much on the channel, but in some of the aftercare where I'm staying in touch with these families after they've been on the show, I hear about these instances where, we heard from someone on Facebook that told us that they saw the person that we're looking for, and we heard about it 4 days after the fact, or by the time we could get someone out there, 2 days had passed and the person wasn't there anymore. Please don't be worried about being embarrassed that you got it incorrect or something like that. I mean, honestly, you can see what this poor woman is going through. We know what the rest of the family is going through as well. I would rather that there was 10 times that I was embarrassed if it meant that at the 11th time it was going to be the right person. And that's kind of what they're hoping for. Every one of those potential sightings is a chance. And admittedly, I also want to tell you, Carol, I've seen people that have gone through the roller coaster of these sightings, and it's something just to be aware of, that you're going to have to brace yourself a little bit for, people do want to help you, and occasionally the information won't be great. Sometimes it'll be good, but
I've had that as well. I've had psychics contacting me, telling me where his body is.
Yeah, that's another really unfortunate thing. I have talked about that on the channel before, and I'll make no qualms about it. Psychics reaching out to families like this, please don't do it unless you have the information. And if you have the information, you know what? Give it to authorities. Why are you reaching out to the families like this anyway? I've talked to several families about this. Most of them do not appreciate psychics contacting them. I've also had families that have looked into that and tried to employ them, and unfortunately, none of those have been very beneficial. I put a challenge out to my audience of please tell me a case where this has helped, and I still have not found a particular case where this has been an effective thing. So yeah, it's really hard because I know people want to help, and I know people want to help in all kinds of different ways, but we have to be respectful to the families and what they're going through, and making sure that the way that we're helping them is substantial. I don't want to say meaningful, because I think anyone opening their heart to this is doing it in a meaningful way, but we want to make sure it's substantial help. So yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that you're going. I mean, you've been thrown square into a situation that I've talked to so many other people about, and that's why I wrote the big website. That's why it has several videos and pages of words on it. I'm just trying to let everyone know what you could possibly expect when you're getting into these cases, because we do hear about these things time and time again. It's really, really tough, Carol. I'm so sorry that you're dealing with this.
I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me and get this information out there.
Yeah, of course.
If anybody hasn't talked to the police, who knows, Sam? If anybody's not reached out yet, they're worried that they might implicate themselves in something, I'm asking them to please reconsider and please reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we touched a little bit on he was depressed a little bit with how his life is going, and quite honestly, this is a bit of a recurring theme that I'm hearing in some of these cases as well. Younger people are really struggling with the type of world that is out there right now. It's not like it was even for me. It's just not the same. Get out when you're 18 or 19, find a job, and then get a car, and then buy a house, and all. Just the mechanics for handling all that financially are not in the same place that they were. And it sounds like he was struggling with that aspect as well. Was he taking any medication for his depression at all?
He could have been, but if he was, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Gotcha. Now, in another article, they were mentioning that the family had made some comments to law enforcement, and law enforcement was in turn saying that there was a potential that he might be in danger. Were they talking just about his depression, or is there some other aspect?
I don't know, to be honest. When the police sent out that press release, and that's how it appeared on the news, I wasn't exactly sure what they meant. But I personally believe that he either is in danger right now or something has happened to him, because you don't just disappear.
Right.
So, that in itself makes this a dangerous situation in the fact that nobody has seen him or heard from him since the morning of June 29th. It seems unfathomable to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but there's no other aspect that you've heard about from any of your family members or any of his friends or anything about someone being after him or him owing.
I don't know personally of anybody who had a grievance with him, who would want to hurt him in any way. But you see, then again, he's 25 years old. He hasn't lived at home for quite some time. He will have friends that I don't even know who they are. And this is why I'm appealing to other people. If anybody else knows of anything that I don't know, if Sam had a falling out with somebody, if he owed somebody any money, if he had done something wrong to somebody, in any way, shape or form that would make him a target, I am asking you to please come forwards and give that information to the police, because that might be the key to this. That might be the missing piece that we're all looking for.
Okay. I just want to ask you this, and I know you're not going to have an exact answer, but are you trusting the information that you're getting from his roommate and their family?
I have had many conversations with his roommate, and in fact, I picked him up this morning and took him to the police station, and he was interviewed for the second time today by the police, and he's very accommodating. He's allowed the police into the house. He's allowed the police to look at the room where Sam was living. He answers my text messages when I contact him, and he looks to me to be genuinely worried about Sam. Obviously, I am not a mind reader, so I don't know if he knows something that he's not telling anybody.
Right.
But from the way that he's acted and behaved, he came out and helped with the search. When we did the search of the subdivision, he with his parents came out and helped go door to door. So he's not giving me any indication that he's not telling the truth. But like I say, I'm not a mind reader, and right now I'm willing to suspect anybody because it just doesn't make sense.
You're looking for an answer, yeah.
I'm looking for an answer. I need to know where he is.
Is there any potential that, well, I guess the answer is yes, there is potential. He's not living with you, so there is some potential that he could be in another circle of friends that you don't know about, or some other.
I sure hope so. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know of anybody else. And a lot of his friends have reached out to me through Facebook that I didn't even know were friends with him.
Right.
But yes, of course, it's possible that he knows people that I'm not aware of. And that would be the best case scenario, that he just got tired of his life and he decided to go sleep on somebody's sofa. That would be the best outcome in the world. And if he is sleeping on your sofa, please tell him to just pick up the phone and tell me that he's okay. He doesn't even have to come home.
Yeah.
He can stay where he is if that's what he wants. He can just let me know that he's okay.
Yeah. And we've touched on that, but obviously, Sam, if you do happen to see this and that is the situation, you don't have to come home, but obviously this is something that's really affecting your family, and I think you'd probably be a good man for getting some kind of message back to them that that's the situation. And, very strange things happen with family dynamics. Sometimes we don't really understand why these things occur. We don't have to understand. We just need to know that you're okay, just in case.
And if he does see this and he does need to come home, I will do anything. Yeah. Absolutely anything. I will drive anywhere. I will, if he's a long way off, I'll pay for him transportation to come home. I'll do whatever it takes, anything to get him home.
And to touch on that also, if there's something that you might be ashamed about that you got into or something along those lines, I don't think, whatever state you're in, I'm more than sure your family is more than willing to accept that and to bring you back and to help you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So we've touched on the Walmart. The Walmart is actually in an area called Huntersville.
Correct.
Okay. Yes. Just wanted to make sure to get that out there. Once again, I want to get these town names out there. So if you have friends, please share this video with them in these areas. Are there any spots that Sam particularly enjoyed that he may have gone to?
Not that I can think of, no. And I've asked his friends the same questions. I mean, he had a very limited range with him not having a car.
Yeah.
So, the park on Hooks Road, that was one of the places that he would go hang out.
Right.
And they have like picnic tables and sit there. I personally don't know of anywhere else, but again, if anybody knows of anywhere else, this is something that you can call the police and say, hey, I used to hang out with Sam 2 years ago or whatever, and we used to go to such and such a place.
Right.
Oh, there was one place, it's called Feral Town Lake. Mm-hmm. It's in Huntersville, and it's popular with dirt bike riders apparently. And I was told that at one point, and maybe a couple of years ago, Sam and a few friends went and camped there. I'm pretty sure you're not illegally allowed to camp there, but anyway, they went and camped there. And I have personally walked around the outside of this lake, which is way bigger than it looks like when you look on Google Maps, because I thought I would have done it in 20 minutes. It took me 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I've not seen any evidence of him there. But then again, it's huge and it's wooded and it's, so if there are any people who go to that area who know the area, or even if maybe they live close to the area, or any dirt bike riders who would be interested in searching that area. I don't know that he's going to be there. Nobody recently has said that he is there or that he's gone there recently, but that is somewhere where I believe he did camp out maybe a couple of years ago. it's just, I mean, it's a long shot, but right now we have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea at all.
So it's reasonable in terms of him getting there on his skateboard, right?
It would have taken him about maybe just over an hour.
Okay.
But he didn't have any camping equipment with him.
Okay.
So it's very unlikely that he would have gone there. But then again, like you said, think of any other places. That's really the only other place that anybody said that he may have gone to.
Okay.
But then again, if any friends know of any other places where he used to hang out,
yep,
please come forward.
So when you're putting searches together, are you organizing those on the Facebook page as well?
We haven't done any since I put the Facebook page together, but if we were to organize any, I would promote them on there, yes.
Okay, excellent. So if you do live in the area and you are looking to help with this, please check out the Facebook page and look for updates there about additional searches that can go on. Are there any fundraisers or anything like that currently going on?
No, because I can't think of anything that we need to raise money for.
Okay, great.
I mean, I'm not rich, don't get me wrong, but I don't need anybody sending me a ransom note or anything ridiculous like that. But like I said, if he's somewhere and he needs to get home, yeah, I have the means to get him home. So, we've not thought that we really need to raise any money.
Yeah, and you're kind of early on with things, but in terms of money for posters, I don't know if you're going to...
I'll be printing them free of charge. Office Depot in Charlotte have printed over 400 free of charge, and there's other people who have asked me for the poster, and I've sent it to them, and they've been telling me as well that where they go to various different places around Charlotte, companies are printing it free of charge because of the reason for the poster. So we've been very fortunate in that respect. That
is amazing, and thank you to Office Depot and all the other companies that are doing that. That really, I just got chills just hearing that. I really appreciate when we see someone that is in need like this and other people help in that way. It really means a lot to me. So thank you guys so much for that. So outside of the Facebook page, is there any other websites or resources?
Well, no, not at the moment. I did start promoting it on my own page, and I would like to say that I don't want to be famous, which I don't want to be famous.
Yeah.
But I started the official page just to try and take a step back from it so that it is more official.
Yeah.
But I'm the one running it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And I do think that's a good way to do it. It lets people, first of all, it's hard to say this because you're his mother, but we have to remember that there's your life and then there's this thing that is now affecting your life. Mm-hmm. And to have that almost compartmentalized a little bit on Facebook, I think is good, not just for the emotional aspect, which I think is good enough on its own, but outside of that, so that people that are coming to you can get the information they're looking for quickly. It's going to be much more focused in terms of what the topic is. You're going to be talking about potential searches that are coming up. Maybe you might have a timeline on there of the known events.
I have a timeline on there.
Perfect. So yeah, I do think that's really smart. And I know you're just getting started with this. The toughest thing about these cases is we don't know how long this is going to go on. We don't know how long the search might last. So I just want to ask very early on for you in particular, just please do whatever you can to find a balance in your life, to make sure that you're still trying to enjoy what you can with your family, and that you're still always working on this, always finding the next step, making sure that a little step taken every single day is the type of pattern that you want to get to. Now, you're only a month into this, so I know that right now it's all consuming.
It is.
It's all day, it's all night. I totally understand that. But make sure, how when you take a flight somewhere, they say that if the oxygen masks drop, that you have to put it on yourself before you put it on your child.
I'm trying.
Yeah, just do your best. I know it's not going to be easy. Just do your best, because I can see how hard this is on you.
And I would also just like to thank all my friends who have been cooking for me, because I don't like to cook at the best of times. So
yeah, isn't that amazing?
Feeding people became very low down on my priority, and my friends have stepped up to the plate, have been bringing food over for us. Everybody's been so thoughtful.
That once again, you're giving me chills again. I love hearing about that aspect of these stories, that people are really trying to help and do the right thing. And in ways like that, I would have never thought of that. Someone just to come by and cook a meal for you and your family. That's really, really special. So originally I did want to ask about NamUs, because I looked for him on NamUs and he wasn't there yet, but I know that it sometimes takes time for the record to get approved and then show up. You have already entered him.
I entered him yesterday, and I went to the police station this morning and gave a DNA sample, which was not easy.
Yeah. I know it's not the best situation to think of, that you might need their resource, but once again, they're those types of people that are really trying to help in the worst cases, not just missing people, but also occasionally when unidentified bodies show up. They're the people that are trying to help those situations. So
in fact, I was very impressed that I only entered him yesterday, and today I was given a DNA sample. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah. There's some amazing people that work over there. I'm in contact with a few of them, and it's very special. It's not the easiest job, I'm sure, because of what they're facing on a day-to-day basis, but they also have some successes in terms of closing those cases out, and not always in a bad way. Those records do get closed out in good ways too. So please try to let a little bit of light in when you think about that as well. So once again, everyone, we're looking for tips. We're looking for information. Maybe you are part of a social circle that Carol doesn't know about, that he was part of. If you have this type of information and you want to remain anonymous, you can use the Crime Stoppers phone number at 704-334-1600. If it's a different situation and you feel like you need to talk to someone that's working hands-on directly with this case, please reach out to Detective Gaskin at 704-353-0890. And as usual, I will have all this information in the description box below, as well as a link to the official Facebook page. Carol, anything else that you'd like to say before we end this today?
No, I think we've covered everything. You've been really thorough with it, and I just very much appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, you have it. Just know that you now know how to get a hold of me, and this is just the start for us too. If you think that there's anything that I can do to help you further, if you do get to a point where maybe you guys want to do a fundraiser because you're hiring a private investigator or you're looking to get some billboards, whatever it is, please be sure to reach back out so I can help publicize that as well.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You got it. That was Carol Mejia, everybody, bearing her heart and soul in that interview. Thank you so much, Carol, for sharing that with us. I'm really sorry that you're going through this. I know I said it to you a bunch of times in the interview, but I'm just so moved by it. And once again, thank you to all the amazing people that know Carol personally, that are helping her, the people that are donating resources for copying the flyer and all that. It's really, those are the bright spots in these dark stories. And it's because of good people out there, because that's what shows us the humanity in these stories. That's a big part of the reason why I do this work. So thank you so much for bringing that light to this case. So looking back to last week's case, we were talking about Donna K. Cloud, and a big aspect of that case, which many of you hooked into, is the phone. And quite honestly, it still drives me crazy. I don't know what's going on with the phone here, but let's start with a comment from Slack Morris. Pretty cool name there, Slack. Honestly, started suspecting the family almost instantly until I heard him speak, and I don't believe he's bright enough to come up with that excuse. So either the blind date story is true or the stepmother is involved also. So I did notice it seems like several of you took a look at the video of the father. I don't know. I wouldn't really try to make an assumption if he was bright enough or not. The main things that I'm caught on are that the police can't verify that this blind date happened. That is a serious sticking point. I've quite honestly I've had a few cases that have been this kind of blind date scenario or internet contact scenario. And I think this might be the first one where law enforcement was not able to verify that aspect. So that's the most suspicious thing about that to me. Does it necessarily mean that the family is involved? I don't think so. I think there's a leap that we have to take in terms of that. It could be that it wasn't really a blind date at all. So that's why police cannot corroborate that part of the story. It could be that that's simply what she had told her parents. We definitely have to consider that as well. And it's been interesting because in the comments, you guys are kind of going back and forth. There's a lot of people, hey, yeah, I think the father's involved. No, you guys are jumping to conclusions. It's not the father. The family's definitely not involved in this. So I'm definitely feeling you on both sides of it. I don't think we have anything close enough to what I would consider evidence to confirm any type of involvement in that direction. I just have a suspicion about the story that we've heard, and I'm not sure that the story is accurate, but that might not be the family's fault. Moving on, Kenny D, who has, I would say it's a hilariously disturbing picture of his finger. If she didn't have a cell phone, what was she texting her parents on? I've been running into a thing lately where a lot of people are saying texting and they're actually talking about Facebook Messenger. So I believe that it could be Facebook messaging that is going on in some of this communication. And I don't know that I believe that she didn't have a cell phone, because we've got the grandfather that talked about her cell phone, talked about her having it all the time. We've got a picture of her taking a selfie with an iPhone. Of course, I'm making an assumption that that's her phone. I guess it could be someone else in the family's phone, but I'm pretty sure she had a phone of some kind. I don't know if she had service to the phone. Also, I wanted to point out What the F blog that talked about a text and call app. So basically an app that you could download, and when you were on Wi-Fi, you would use this app to send legit texts or make phone calls over Wi-Fi. So there are some options there for people to text that might not actually have service. Next comment from Jillian Gill, who I just want to call out as being a big friend of the channel, very supportive, leaves a lot of interesting comments on Patreon for all of us patrons and me to read through. I really appreciate her interaction with everything. She's given us some insight in terms of the location tracker. P.S. I normally have my phone's location tracker turned off because it runs down my battery and wastes my data. But if I have to travel to somewhere strange, or if I get a nervous feeling, then I always turn on my location tracking. I gave my partner my Gmail password just in case I ever go missing, so he could find me on Google Maps. I was seriously assaulted 3 years ago, so I'm extra cautious ever since. Big thumbs up. Jillian, I think it's terrible that you had to go through that situation, but thank you so much for learning from it and for sharing that information with the rest of us. I think you're running on a pretty good system there, and I recommend that many of you consider this as well. It's very tough to talk to these families. Once again, we heard about it from Carol today, where they just don't have the information. She would love to be able to log into Sam's Facebook to see what was going on. There's just no way for her to do that. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jillian. On to Sonia Rebecca, who comes up with an interesting theory. Is it possible she was drug running for her father? My reasons for thinking this, and she actually has 9 reasons. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the first one, the blind date theory cannot be substantiated. 2, she told her stepmother if she wasn't back by 2 a.m. to call the cops. Obviously, both of those points I thought were strange for a case like this, so I agree with her that there's something to those points. 3, she probably turned on her location services to feel safer. 4, there was no location activity after 1 a.m., but police were not called, despite Donna specifically asking her stepmother to call police at 2 a.m. And then there's several other points. I believe that you are raising many good points here, but it's one of those cases where we don't have information that's pointing us necessarily to that conclusion very strongly. We have a lot of circumstances around that conclusion that say this might be one potential outcome. So I understand where you're going with this, and I understand why it was so supported. You had 40 upvotes on this comment, started a good, healthy discussion under it where people were really kicking this back and forth. I would love to think that investigators working on this, the law enforcement investigators, are considering something around this type of possibility. I would like to think that mainly because of point number one, that the blind date theory cannot be substantiated, that they would just be looking at who was she last with and what was going on in that situation. And we know that apparently there was some type of argument going on between her and her father. Is there something more to that? Does it have to do with drug running necessarily? I don't know. Once again, we're kind of moving to a conclusion that I don't know we have all the information to support. But in terms of investigating this, there are aspects of what's going on between Donna and her father that I believe a professional law enforcement investigator should be looking at more strongly, just to understand. Not necessarily, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that there's smoke there necessarily. So I don't know if there's fire, but I'm saying something in that direction isn't really making sense in terms of the story that we're hearing. Once again, as I started this comment section with, it might not necessarily be his fault. It could be that the information that he was given from Donna was not accurate right from the start. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And also, before we go, I do want to thank some new patrons. I have new patrons. Actually, I think I've already given you a shout out, but I'm going to give you another. Oh no, I think you actually made a comment and now you're a patron. Brigitte Huvetsku Thorin, or is it Thorine? Brigitte, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I remember now. You were actually in the comments on an episode last week. Also, Menno Van Mort, now a patron. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. On top of that, Barbara Jacobson and Cassia F increasing their pledges. Thank you all for supporting what I do here. It's truly special to me. I want to tell you, I was researching another missing persons case earlier today. It's probably going to come up on the channel next week. And at the end of a phone call with the sister of this missing person, she was asking, how do I pay you? How do I give you something for doing this for us? And it felt so good to be able to tell her, you pay me by taking care of yourself, because me and the people that support me have this covered in terms of money. Don't worry about that. And it's because of you guys. It's because of your views. It's because of, yes, partly because of ad revenue, but a big part of it is because of you that support me on PayPal and Patreon. And I really appreciate being able to say something like that to someone, and I cannot do that without you. Thank you guys so much. Take care, everyone. I'll see you back here on the Lord and Arch channel on Friday with a brand new Brainscratch. See you there.